Well, Ellen, God, a long story. She came out of a Marlins. Uh, Ellen came out of a Marlins and Black um, show. She was a minor character in a show that Neil Marlins and Carol Black uh, had created. She was a secretary. I don't remember the name of the show, but we all saw her and we all loved her. She was like the wisecracking secretary, and and we made a deal with her. And Marlins and Black wanted to write the show. And we had to deal with them too, and I had enormous respect for them. They were two of the more difficult humans I've ever worked with. And
I've just been handed a note. The show is called Open House.
thank you very much. That's exactly right.
Nice one.
Very good. That show didn't work, but Ellen was clearly great, and I loved her. I've always loved her. I thought she was like a great comedian. She reminded me of sort of the early film comedians. There was something like very sort of Buster Keaton-ish or Laurel and Hardy about her. And there was just something that was really this kind of sort of anxiety and wonder about everything that she managed to convey. I just always thought she was great. And Neil and Carol wanted to do it, so we had great talent behind the camera. We had a great star, or somebody I thought would be a great star, and they were commissioned to do the show. And we sold it to ABC. They wrote it, and they wrote it as a ensemble comedy, and that was a mistake because she was the star, but they didn't want to write for a star because they didn't believe in the star system, and they didn't want any star telling them what to do because they had the whole same issue that Matt Williams did. And so the net result was they wrote an ensemble comedy for a woman who didn't want to be part of an ensemble comedy. She wanted to be the star. And then they were determined that whatever she wanted didn't really matter because what they wanted that mattered. So they did the show. It was a very funny pilot. There were some amazing, great scenes in it. People liked a large part of it, but it clearly didn't work. And whether it worked or not was really irrelevant because the star wasn't willing to participate. So fights started. The show made it on air. Fights between them started immediately. And
Now, it made it on air, though, still with the ensemble conceit.
we're still with the ensemble conceit, and literally not a moment. There was no break. It was war from day one between them and Ellen, and and it didn't get better. It got worse and worse and worse and worse. And people, the audience, meanwhile, clearly loved her. They didn't care about the ensemble. So it was a problem. And, the ultimate way that I dealt with the problem was the way that I looked at what I thought was the most important element of this particular conflict. Because it was clear that there was no way we tried putting them together. We basically had mass therapy sessions. None of it worked. And not because any of them were bad people. They just had very different understanding of what they wanted to accomplish in life and what they were willing to tolerate. And we finally was clear they weren't going to work. And, Neil and Carol had to go just because Ellen was the star. That's what the audience was responding to. And there was no way to back them because there was nothing to back. And I fired them. It was very difficult and very unpleasant because I had an enormous amount of affection for both of them. We brought in different writers and showrunners and started shifting the show to make it about Ellen. And Jolie Fisher was clearly working well in the relationship with her. There were good elements to the show, and we turned it much more to the Ellen DeGeneres show, and that's what it became.